Gary, I mean, I think the big question fans are going to have is just wondering about Hani and Sam's status. It seemed initially like Hani, when he first got injured against Mocha, that it may not be a long-term issue. Have there been any complications, and do you expect either to be available?
Yeah, not complications, Ben. There certainly have in the last 10 days or so been, maybe one or two steps that have been taken that he's had a reaction to. He is back in the group and working, and there certainly will be a thought about where and how Hani might be used tomorrow. But for sure, a little bit more disappointment in the last couple of weeks that we've not been able to include him in the group. Just given the way that the injury occurred and how early we all thought that we'd caught it. Sam's in a very different boat. He's just started to do some work out on the field. Will not be available for tomorrow. So that's a disappointment, but he's in a much better place. I think we originally thought he would be, with regards to the impact and the problem that occurred. So we're not a million miles away with Sam, but he certainly won't be ready for tomorrow.
Gary, this team, Miami, was already tough enough, like you do already know, because of the last encounters against Nashville. Now, how much better do you think it's gotten with obviously Luis Suarez and Gomez up front, besides Taylor and obviously Lionel Messi?
Well, look, I think what we've seen in the opening exchanges of the season are improved Miami, certainly with the ball. I think the last game that we saw against Orlando, typified exactly what they're about and what they're capable of. Started well, got on the front foot, scored quickly. I'm not sure that group needs a lot of confidence building. But I think we see them go to a slightly different level when they can get their teeth into the game and they can get in front. It's the first time this season we've seen them control it from start to finish, and against a good side. One or two flaws in the games before. It certainly looked as though they might have ironed out a couple of those in the Orlando game. But what I would say is we're early on in the season, full stop. This is our fifth game coming up. It's quick succession for us. Miami had a very long and strong pre-season. Strong in the sense that difficult, lots of games, short space of time. Look, I would expect a very comprehensive display on the ball from Miami, but I think we'll take an awful lot of confidence out of the way Leagues Cup went. Yes, there were some difficulties in that first period and first half. I thought the guys showed, great character and a completely different look in the second period. And it became a wonderful occasion, a very exciting occasion. And I think in the end, there wasn't really a deserved winner, although there had to be one. So we're going into this game, with a very, very positive mindset. There's, I think, an awful lot that can be achieved in this first round and first tie against them. And the hope is we can take ourselves into leg two in a good position.
Walker, what specifically do you think you can take away from the two times you saw Inter-Miami after Lionel Messi signing last summer, Leagues Cup, and also you were able to hold them scoreless for the first time in August in the regular season?
Yeah, I think looking back on our last two games with them, we should be able to draw a lot of confidence from those two games. They were good performances from us. Thought we had chances to win them. But you look at what they've been able to do, especially the start of this year, the production. We handled it very well last year, but it's a new team on both sides. Just because we did well last time doesn't mean it's automatically going to happen again. So for us, it's about our concentration, our focus, and our approach to this game. It is a two-leg series, so we have the good sign of starting at home. So I think it raises that importance of getting a good result here and be able to dictate what happens in leg 2.
Walker's a little bit of maybe revenge, you know, for the last time you got to play these guys.
I wouldn't necessarily say revenge. I think we all wanted more out of that game, so there's a lot left to be desired, but it's a new year. I don't think we're looking at the past. I think we're focused on this present game, this competition, and what it means to this group. So I'm sure there's going to be motivation regardless. It doesn't have to come from this whole revenge factor, but we certainly want to win. We want to get off to a good start in leg 1, and that's what we're looking to do.
How do you contain Messi?
Yeah, I mean, people have been trying to figure it out for decades. So I think we've done a good job in the past for the past 2 times that we've played them. You know, it's about not being it's about being fearless. You know, you got to be able to approach the game in the same way that you would otherwise, and be aware of where he is on the field. Try and limit his space, limit the ability for him to run at you with pace. Because when you give him that time and space, he can pinpoint a shot or a pass. So being close to him is probably the most important thing.
Okay, we'll take some questions from the audience here that is online. I'm going to raise the volume for you, gentlemen. Okay. John Glennon, if you would like to ask a question to the gentleman here.
Yes, thank you, Gary. I know you talked before the season, certainly about the enthusiasm of having Hani and Sam and Tyler and kind of everything that you hoped they would bring. I wonder if you could just talk a little bit about the frustration level I'm sure you must feel, and probably some fans are feeling too, you know, just the fact that they've been able to be on the field so few moments together so far, you know, at the start of the season, at which there was a lot of, you know, high hopes for the 3 of them together.
It is unfortunately part and parcel of the game. You know, we've seen Hani and Sam walk off the field in the same game. Huge disappointment. We've had a very small sample size of those guys working together, and I think what we saw, hugely encouraging. The hope is slowly but surely we're getting closer to that. I know there was a question earlier from Ben about, you know, when and how those guys are going to be back into the group. In the meantime, I think there have been some very sterling performances from other guys that have stepped up to the plate. And I do believe in a season where the opening exchanges are as challenging as anything that we've run into in terms of schedule and caliber of games, I think the whole group has shown the sort of professionalism and focus on really 2 fronts. You know, the travel and the challenges of going and playing in Champions Cup are there for everyone to see. And we've had, you know, likewise in our league schedule that we've always put great stock and great value in. So to be in a position where we're in the last 16 and unbeaten in the league, albeit, you know, looking for our first win in the league, I think the guys have done a great job, and we can look forward to what Tyler, Hani and Sam will bring to the group, certainly as a trio. And, you know, maybe over time we'll see that flourish.
Thank you, Coach. We will now move to Valer Chabella.
Hello. Hi, Gary and Walker. This is a question for both of you. Gary, you might not necessarily like me for this, but I asked you a couple of weeks ago about the Open Cup. So now a decision seems to have been made. Neither Nashville SC nor Huntsville FC will be participating. I'm just curious about both of y'all's thoughts about this.
Look, I think that's horrible. That echo.
Go ahead.
I think that the Open Cup, as we all see it, is a cup competition that offers us as a playing staff and a team the opportunity for silverware and to obviously enter into the cup competition that we're in. We are, however, bound by the rules and regulations of MLS. And I would have to say, in current circumstances, the fact that we, as the MLS group, are not taking part in Open Cup this year is probably a scheduled blessing. The fact that we don't have as many games, these guys are getting through a tremendous amount of work. There are limitations, of course, in our league with squad size and restrictions in other areas. So therefore, that makes life incredibly difficult. The fact that we have at least a couple of players, if not more, that actually represent their country as well, play into that equation. So I would have to say on this occasion, it is a blessing that we don't take part in Open Cup. As far as Huntsville not being involved, I don't think anyone was aware that making the playoffs or being in that top group in MLS Next Pro was going to be a factor in either being involved or not involved in Open Cup. That was, I think, a discussion surely that was at a much higher level in the early part of this year. So that's unfortunate. It would have been great if they could have been part of that equation, but they're not. We move on, and we look forward to and we focus on the silverware that we can try and win.
Yeah, not much to add to that. I think Gary covered a lot of the key points there. I've had great memories of Open Cup myself. Having won in Dallas, we came, very close, losing the quarterfinal in Orlando with Nashville. It's a fun tournament. It's a chance for, lower level teams to enter into a fold and play some big time games. It also offers the opportunity for maybe some players on MLS teams who aren't playing as much to get some more games. So from that standpoint, would you always like for those players to get more action in competitive games? Yes. But to Gary's point, the schedule this year for us with Champions Cup and international duty and all the things that are going on, it could be a blessing. Again, not to say anything bad about the Open Cup, because I think the history and the importance of what it means to soccer here is obviously important. But again, some of these decisions are outside of our control. And, in regards to Huntsville, it would have been great to see them in it, but it is what it is. And we're just going to do our best to tackle the games that we can and the tournaments that we can win.
That does it for today's press conference for Champions Cup round of 16. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
We'll see you tomorrow. All my best for tomorrow's match.